Ah, look who they can't touch anymore. Welcome back, you beautiful, untouchable anomaly. You felt it, haven't you? The shift in the air, the way their attacks miss. Their curses lose momentum, and every trap they set somehow flips against them. You didn't chant protection spells or beg the heavens for help, yet something unseen wrapped itself around you like armor forged from silence and starlight. And now they're terrified, because they've exhausted every trick, every manipulation, every coordinated strike meant to bury you, and still you stand. Breathing, smiling, glowing with a calm they can't decode. They thought they had you cornered. They rallied their forces, whispered in their hidden chats, twisted your words, and weaponized your kindness. They painted you as the villain in a courtroom of illusions, turning your silence into guilt and your compassion into weakness. Even those you once trusted wavered, stepping back under the weight of lies. They waited for you to collapse, to beg for mercy, to prove their narrative right. But you didn't. You didn't break, defend, or even flinch, and that's when the panic began. Their energy started collapsing in on itself. Their plans unraveled like cheap thread. People they sent to observe you came back altered, shaken, unsure of what they'd witnessed. Doors they tried to slam in your face opened wider. Opportunities multiplied. The love and support they tried to poison became stronger, deeper, unstoppable. And that's when the realization struck. It wasn't luck. It was law. A higher law. You've been under surveillance, yes, but not by them. They thought they were the judges and the executioners, but they were only background noise. While they plotted, something far greater was watching, observing their deception, their cruelty, their false victories. And that divine intelligence made a decision. It issued a decree, not a human one written in ink, but an energetic one written in light. Touch this soul and pay the price. Now they're learning what that means. Every emotional jab, every energetic curse, every spiritual strike rebounds with precision. They dig pits and fall into them. They hurl stones and get hit in the face by the same impact. Every time they try to destroy you, they end up destroying a piece of themselves. That's the consequence of targeting someone chosen, someone protected by the unseen order. You didn't win through revenge or resistance. You won because the universe decided enough was enough. They spread a lie about you, and suddenly their own secrets started spilling into the light. They tried to isolate you, but somehow they ended up the ones abandoned, left to sit in the loneliness they wished upon you. This isn't slow, patient karma unfolding in due time. This is instant surgical justice, precise and undeniable. And the wildest part? You're not the one doing it. You're not sitting in the dark casting spells or plotting revenge. You're just living, healing, rising, moving forward with your head held high and your conscience clean. That's what's driving them mad, because they can't trace the source of your protection. They can't find the crack in your foundation. They can't decode why their attacks fall flat. It's because what shields you isn't something you put on. It's something that chose you. What they'll never understand is that real protection doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It's not earned through rituals, appearances, or acting flawless. Real protection comes from being real, from telling the truth even when it costs you everything, from choosing kindness even when it's weaponized against you, from staying loyal even when betrayal surrounds you. You didn't earn divine protection by following a script. You earned it by refusing to become the monster they hoped to create. They wanted you bitter, but you grew. They wanted you hateful, but you loved. They wanted you vengeful, but you found peace. And somewhere beyond their reach, something higher took notice. Something divine, unseen, ancient. It saw your refusal to corrupt, your refusal to break, your refusal to let darkness win. And it decided, this one will walk through fire and not burn. This one will be shielded in every realm. And from that moment, you became untouchable. Not because you're flawless, but because you're protected. Now they're panicking because the pattern is impossible to ignore. Every person who came at you too hard, where are they now? Broken, exposed, unraveling under the weight of their own intentions. Every lie they spread has backfired, the truth roaring louder than their deception. Every door they tried to slam in your face led to a better one opening right after. Every relationship they tried to poison became stronger, deeper, more aligned. Because real recognizes real, and your energy can't be faked. They're watching their own lives fall apart while yours keeps ascending, and they can't rationalize it anymore. The pattern's too clear, the protection's too powerful. And now they're afraid because they've realized this isn't coincidence, this is consequence. When people attack someone under divine protection, it's never gentle. It's not symbolic. It's devastating. Because when you're covered by higher forces, every blow aimed at you becomes a strike against what protects you. And that's a losing battle. They tried to ruin your name, and their own reputations crumbled. They tried to block your blessings, and their paths closed off. They tried to break your spirit, and it's their hearts that shattered. They tried to isolate you, and now they're surrounded by people just as fake as they were. They tried to make you suffer, and now they're the ones crying themselves to sleep, haunted by the very energy they created. And the irony? You never wished harm on them. You never celebrated their downfall. You didn't curse or condemn. You just kept walking. Kept healing, kept building. That silence, that refusal to engage, amplified the rebound. Because nothing is louder in the universe than a pure soul staying silent while protected by something far greater than vengeance. Here's what they're finally learning the hard way. Energy never lies and intention can't hide. The universe isn't some blind machine handing out random blessings or punishments. It's intelligent. It's conscious, it's watching, and it knows exactly who's moving from love and who's operating from hate. It knows who's building and who's destroying, who's real and who's performing for the crowd. So when it sees a pure-hearted soul, not perfect but genuine, being targeted by people acting out of jealousy, insecurity, and malice, it steps in. Not because you begged or performed a ritual, but because protecting you protects the principles you embody. Truth, integrity, authenticity, and resilience. The universe guards those values because if souls like you, souls that have walked through hell and still chose the light, can be destroyed by darkness, then everything collapses. So you became the example, the living proof that darkness doesn't always win, that attacks don't always land. That divine protection is real. And now, they're stuck watching the very person they tried to break become indestructible. They see you thriving when they swore you'd fail, speaking with confidence when they tried to silence you, and glowing in peace while they drown in chaos. Every word they speak against you boomerangs. Every move they make backfires. Every hateful thought manifests as destruction in their own lives. They built their own prison, and you are the living reminder of what they lost. Not because you're gloating, but because your peace is undeniable evidence that their schemes failed. They threw everything they had at you, and you're still standing, still shining, still protected. And now comes the realization that haunts them. You were never lucky. You were protected. There's a difference, and they feel it now. They were so busy watching you that they forgot to watch themselves. Obsessed with your every move, they didn't notice their own lives unraveling, relationships collapsing, mental health fading, opportunities slipping away. While they were gossiping, tracking, and analyzing you, consequences were quietly building around them. They became the cautionary tale, proof that hate destroys the hater, not the target. Meanwhile, you kept growing, glowing, and evolving, not because you won, but because you refused to play their small game. You were never their competition. You were never chasing their validation. You've always been running your own race on a higher frequency, but their envy convinced them you were a threat. Their fear convinced them that your success was their loss. So they declared war on someone who was never their enemy, someone who would have cheered for them, helped them, collaborated with them. And now those bridges are gone, burned by their own hands. You stand on your side of the river, calm, grounded, protected, while they stand on theirs, lonely and burdened by the weight of their hate. Because that's the price of jealousy. That's the cost of attacking the protected. You don't just lose the fight, you lose yourself in the process. And now, the same force that shielded you is watching them, measuring, weighing, and revealing the truth of their hearts. Protection always works both ways. If you've been protected from them, that means they've been blocked from you. Every curse redirected, every strike absorbed, every malicious plan neutralized. And the force behind it? It's not neutral. It doesn't just defend, it responds, swiftly, decisively, and without apology. Not with your hands, not with your words, but through consequences, through the laws of energy, through the simple and unshakable truth that what you send out always returns to you, magnified. They released so much darkness, so much manipulation, so much deliberate cruelty into the world, and now it's circling back with precision, not as punishment from you, but as justice from reality itself. They're beginning to understand they're not fighting you anymore. They're battling forces beyond their comprehension, and they're losing, miserably. The most striking part of all this is your silence. While they rant, justify, and twist narratives to anyone who will listen, you stay still, posting, smiling, living. That calm quiet of yours speaks louder than any defense ever could. Because silence from someone who could destroy their enemies with truth but chooses peace instead, that's power. That's restraint. That's divine protection disguised as composure. They crave your reaction, need it even, because your response would give them fuel. Anger would mean they got to you. Defensiveness would imply guilt. But you give them nothing, just quiet strength. And that's what drives them insane. They can't fight what doesn't engage. They can't manipulate peace. They can't win against someone who's already stepped outside the arena entirely. Your silence is your proof of protection. Only those who feel truly safe can afford to stay this calm. Only someone backed by something greater can walk away from battles they could easily win. You don't have to defend yourself. Your life is your defense. You don't have to explain yourself. Your progress speaks louder than their lies. You don't have to fight. Whatever shields you is already handling that. Your only job is to stay clear, focused, and aligned. And that's exactly what you're doing. While they spiral in chaos, you're building in peace. While they obsess over you, you've already forgotten they exist. And that forgetting, that genuine detachment, is the final nail in the coffin of their influence. Because they can't touch what they can't reach. And they'll never reach someone operating on a frequency they've never known. So they try harder, spreading bigger lies, recruiting more allies, crafting more elaborate traps. And every single time they fail, publicly, painfully, predictably, because they're fighting invisible protection with visible weapons. They're cursing someone already blessed. They're trying to destroy what's divinely secured. The more they push, the more they crumble. Their obsession consumes them. Their hatred drains them. Their jealousy infects everything good left in their lives. Meanwhile, you rise higher, thriving, glowing, untouched. Not because you're perfect, but because you chose differently. You chose healing instead of revenge, peace instead of war, growth instead of bitterness. And those choices activated a protection they'll never understand. Because divine protection doesn't belong to the flawless. It belongs to the real. The ones who remain kind when cruelty would have been easier. The ones who stay human when hate tries to harden them. And that choice, to stay real, is what made you untouchable. Let's talk about the energy shift that transformed everything about you and the reality surrounding you. There was a specific moment, subtle, invisible, but life-altering, when everything began to rearrange itself in your favor. You may not recall the exact time it happened. It wasn't a thunderclap or a dramatic revelation. It was quiet, almost sacred. It was the moment you finally decided that explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you was a waste of sacred energy. The moment you stopped defending your truth to those who were more comfortable living inside their lies. The moment you stopped trying to heal people who weren't just broken, they were invested in staying broken. That moment of surrender wasn't a collapse. It was an ascension. It was when your spirit said enough. Enough proving, enough chasing closure, enough begging to be seen, and with that decision, something powerful happened in the unseen. Your energy field shifted. It was like a master key turned inside you, locking certain doors forever and opening new ones that aligned with your higher self. You moved from being accessible to being protected, from being available to being discerning, from being open to being divinely shielded. And they felt it. The instant that frequency changed, the ones who once fed off your light noticed it first. They felt the warmth turn into neutrality, the softness turn into sovereignty. They could no longer access your emotions the way they used to. They could no longer pull your strings, push your buttons, or twist your compassion into a weapon against you. It confused them at first. They didn't understand why the same tactics suddenly stopped working. They felt the energetic door close and mistook your peace for pride, your distance for arrogance, your silence for indifference. But what really happened was power shifting hands. You reclaimed the energy they used to siphon from you, and that terrified them. Because now they weren't fighting you. They were fighting absence. They were fighting silence. They were fighting the version of you that no longer existed. The energy they once drained was no longer available. You went from being a target to being a mystery, and mysteries can't be manipulated. This new energy you embody, it's not cold, it's crystalline, it's not harsh, it's holy. You've become crystal clear about who you are, what you're worth, and who deserves to stand near you. That clarity itself is protection. It's an energetic firewall that jealousy cannot cross, deception cannot mimic, and manipulation cannot decode. You don't need to defend yourself anymore because your energy defends you now. It filters and sorts reality on your behalf. It repels what's false, magnifies what's true, and creates space for peace to thrive. The people who once had front row seats to your life are now locked outside the gates, left knocking, replaying old memories, trying to figure out what went wrong. They text, they gossip, they create stories, all in hopes of regaining access to the version of you that tolerated their chaos. But that version of you no longer exists. The bridge is burned not by vengeance, but by evolution. You've become unavailable for manipulation, emotional theft, and energetic invasion, and the universe has made sure of it. That's the thing about true protection. It's not powered by grudges, it's powered by truth. There's a natural law that governs this universe, one that declares, those who honor their peace will be protected by it. So now whenever anyone with malicious intent tries to reach you, they meet resistance. It's as if an invisible force field recognizes their energy signature before they even think your name. Their words lose power. Their plans disintegrate mid-formation. Their hatred can't even find a frequency match with you anymore. It bounces back, amplified, teaching them the lesson they refuse to learn through mercy. They don't understand how or why it's happening. They just know that every attempt to re-enter your space fails spectacularly. Every curse they speak collapses back into their own life. Every insult echoes in their own energy field. Every scheme they try rebounds painfully and publicly. They're confused because they've never encountered a kind of peace that fights back without lifting a finger. But that's what divine protection looks like. It doesn't roar, it radiates. And while they're unraveling, you're blooming. You've entered a frequency of effortless expansion. Your silence has become your shield. Your peace has become your power. You've realized that true confidence isn't loud. It's calm. It's walking through the same storms that used to break you, and not even flinching this time. It's knowing that your vibration itself is doing the work your words never could. You're not operating in defense anymore. You're operating in design. You've become intentional about your energy, your boundaries, your purpose. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer explain, you embody. You no longer convince, you simply exist, and your existence is proof enough. And the people who once underestimated you are now haunted by the loss of access to your presence. They realize that no imitation, no gossip, no manipulation can recreate your essence. They miss the energy they drained without ever appreciating it. But the truth is, they didn't just lose access to you. They lost access to the divine favor that came with being near you. And now, as they try harder to reach you, the universe keeps blocking them harder. Every attempt collapses before it even begins. Every effort meets resistance because the door has been sealed in spirit. It's not your doing, it's divine order. You've been placed in a realm where low vibrations can't touch you. You've graduated from emotional survival to energetic mastery. That's the real energy shift, the one they'll never understand. You're not above them, you're beyond their reach. You didn't disappear, you ascended. And now no amount of obsession, envy, or malice can cross that line. Because you've become what they feared most. Untouchable, aligned and protected by forces they can't name and will never comprehend. They can't twist the narrative anymore, no matter how desperately they try. The truth has evolved into its own living entity. An unstoppable force that moves through every conversation, every whisper, every lie told in your absence. It doesn't need your defense or your approval. The truth has memory, precision, and divine timing. It rises exactly when it needs to, in exactly the way it should, dismantling falsehoods with quiet authority. It moves unseen, weaving through energy fields, dismantling illusions, exposing deception, and restoring balance. It's not you speaking anymore, it's truth itself, standing in rooms you've never entered, correcting stories you've never heard, and protecting your name in ways no human strategy ever could. And this protection surrounding you, it isn't passive. It's conscious, it's intelligent, it's selective. It's the kind of divine technology that scans intentions like frequencies, reading energy before words are even spoken. It knows who carries love and who carries poison. It detects envy disguised as friendship and charm cloaked in deceit. It identifies manipulation masked as mentorship, attention disguised as affection. And it acts instantly. The moment someone with hidden motives tries to approach, the protection responds. Sometimes it's through a delay, a closed door, a sudden change of plans, or an unexplainable intuitive nudge. But the message is always clear. Access denied. It's a living guardian force, ancient, vigilant, and loyal only to truth. It exposes those who come in false light and elevates those who come in genuine alignment. It moves silently, yet powerfully. It removes, redirects, and replaces. You don't have to fight battles, chase justice, or prove innocence. Your only responsibility is to remain in your authenticity, to stay aligned, stay grounded, and stay real. The protection does the rest. That's what terrifies them. That's what confuses them. They're used to being able to manipulate, control, and distort reality. They've spent their lives mastering psychological games, bending truths, creating illusions that make others doubt themselves. But with you, their tricks fall flat. You've become immune to manipulation because your frequency has outgrown deception. Your energy field no longer entertains chaos. You've become the exception, the anomaly, the one they can't predict or penetrate. They tried to use your empathy against you, but your discernment evolved faster. They tried to guilt trip you, but your peace became louder. They tried to make you question yourself, but your self-awareness became their undoing. They can't reach you anymore. They're shouting into a void where their power once echoed. You've shifted dimensions, vibrationally, spiritually, energetically. They're still fighting on a level you no longer live on. They can't find the version of you they once manipulated because that version doesn't exist anymore. You're operating from a higher system, a frequency governed by divine law, not human interference. And now they're being forced to accept what they swore wasn't possible. You're protected. You're chosen, marked, sealed under divine authority. You carry a signature energy that says to every dark force, approach at your own risk. They tried to write your ending, but they never held the pen. They thought they were the storytellers of your downfall, but you were always the author. They were background noise in your symphony, side characters in your evolution, plot devices that unintentionally activated your ascension. While they were gossiping, you were growing. While they were plotting, you were healing. While they were setting traps, you were mastering patience, discipline, and vision. And now the tables have turned, and not through revenge, but through resonance. The protection that surrounds you isn't temporary or emotional. It's structural. It's woven into your DNA. It's a spiritual firewall coded into your frequency. A divine encryption that scrambles any energy not aligned with truth. It can't be hacked. It can't be bypassed. It can't be deactivated because someone suddenly wants forgiveness. This is permanent, generational protection, the kind that shields not only you but everything connected to you. Your dreams, your work, your peace, your lineage. That's what they don't understand. You are no longer just an individual. You've become a covenant. You're a walking agreement between divine justice and human experience. Every time they try to interfere with your energy, they're violating a sacred law. And spiritual law always collects its due. That's why they're retreating now. Quietly, cautiously. Pretending to have moved on, pretending they're at peace, pretending they've let go. But beneath that facade is terror. They've seen enough to know that what surrounds you isn't coincidence. It's power, it's consequence, it's protection they cannot override. They're haunted by your silence because silence from someone who could destroy them with truth, but chooses not to, is the loudest judgment of all. You don't respond because you don't have to. The universe does it for you. The same divine intelligence that guards your path is the same one that delivers their consequences. They're not afraid of you. They're afraid of what's backing you. They've realized that fighting you means fighting spiritual law itself, and that's a losing battle every time. So now, they stand at a distance, watching. They scroll through your growth, your glow, your evolution, pretending they don't care while secretly obsessed with understanding how you keep rising, how you keep flourishing, how you keep smiling after everything they threw at you. They don't realize that every attack they sent only sharpened your alignment. Every curse they whispered only strengthened your shield. Every betrayal only purified your path. You became unstoppable not because you fought harder, but because you surrendered deeper to something far greater than yourself. And the irony, you don't even wish them harm. You don't carry bitterness. You've moved beyond revenge into reverence. For the lesson, for the growth, for the elevation that came disguised as pain. That's the ultimate form of power, peace. You've become proof that when you remain pure in a corrupt world, the universe itself bends to protect you. So now, you walk differently. There's weight in your steps, not heaviness, but divine gravity. You speak less, but when you do, your words carry frequency. You don't chase, you attract. You don't react. You radiate. You don't prove. You embody. You don't fight. You align. Your energy does the speaking now, and your peace does the winning. You've transcended their reach entirely. They can no longer access you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, or energetically. The door has closed, sealed by a decree that no mortal can revoke. The order has been written, the shield is active, the protection is absolute. And while they spend their lives trying to decipher how you keep surviving storms designed to drown you, you'll be too busy building empires out of light. Because this isn't the end of your story, it's the beginning of your reign. You're no longer just protected, you're appointed. You're no longer just chosen, you're activated. You've stepped into divine dominion, and there's no going back. You're walking proof that purity is power, that truth is armor, and that light, no matter how attacked, always wins. So wear your protection like the crown it is. Walk with the authority of someone who knows their spirit cannot be touched. Let them wonder, let them whisper, let them spiral. Their confusion is their consequence. Their regret is their lesson. You don't owe them closure. You owe yourself expansion. Keep walking, keep shining, keep building, because this is your era, untouchable, unbreakable, unstoppable, and divinely protected by forces they will spend the rest of their lives trying to understand but never will. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm, to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlightened Wisdom.